Jabalpur, a city that sits at the heart of Madhya Pradesh legal and cultural legacy. He obtained his law degree in 1986 and began practicing before the High Court of Madhya Pradesh, building expertise in constitutional matters, civil matters, and revenue law. In 2005, he was elevated as an additional judge of the Madhya Pradesh High Court and attained permanency in 2007. Here, friends, I would like to share a chapter that is closest to the spirit of today's session. I think all of you have heard about the Madan Man Hills. It is one of the oldest living landscape in central India. The granite beneath its surface is approximately 1.7 billion years old. It is here that some of India's most extraordinary dinosaur fossils have been recovered. And in recent years, 256 dinosaur eggs across 92 nests, evidence of one of the largest dinosaur hatcheries ever found on Earth, dating back to 66 million years. The balancing rock that stands at the base of the Madan Mahal Hills is itself a monument of geological time. Atop of this ancient landscape stands the 12th century old fort of Raja Madan Shah of the Gond dynasty. My students, I informed you about the Madan Mahal Hills because this was being lost over decades of illegal encroachment, which had crept over the slopes of the Madan Mahal Hills. Hundreds of unauthorized structures had displaced the ecology, obscured the heritage, and occupied the public land that belonged to every citizen of the city. Justice Jha presided over the bench of the High Court that took up this matter. The court issued orders directing removal of encroachment and restoration of the Madan Mahal Hills, returning to Jabalpur, a landscape that is 1.7 billion years in the making. In June 2019, he was appointed as the acting Chief Justice of the Madhya Pradesh High Court, and in October 2019, he was elevated as the 65th Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court, a position he held until his retirement in October 2023. Delegates, we are not in presence of someone who has only read about the Polluter Pays Principle. We are in presence of someone who has actually lived it. On behalf of the Judicial Committee on Pollution Legislation, I welcome you, sir, and the house is open for you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all environment lovers. And
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good
Now it's
afternoon,
nice
sir.
to-
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Good afternoon. If I can see you when I talk, I'll feel much better. But I leave it to you. In any case, let's start. Vande Vani Vinayakam with the blessings of the God and Goddess of wisdom. Let us start this topic that has been given to you, I believe, for doing and preparing some kind of a research work is Polluter Pays, Sustainable Development and Anthropocentric Issues. Now, while these are concepts that have been developed by judicial decisions, to properly understand this, I think we'll start in the reverse order. Let us understand what this anthropocentric approach to environment is. You're all comic lovers, aren't you? DC World and this and that. So suppose you were one of those super powers and were sitting outside this entire universe and looking at this universe. Probably you would, even if you were given an electron microscope, you will not be able to locate the Earth in this entire universe. And then DC talks about multiverses. There are multiverses, not just one universe. So just to put into perspective the fact that this Earth about which we are talking about is practically non-existent. It's smaller than a speck of dust in this entire firmament. And even in this Milky Way, which is, and the universe is nearly 14 billion years old, the Earth is come into existence, if compared to that, just a few seconds back. Though in terms of Indian years, it's nearly 4.5 billion years old. And this huge galaxy with maybe 2-3 trillion stars, we are just one rocky speck. And on this one small little rocky speck, there are, by the grace of God, existing about 8.5, 8.7 million or maybe more species of living things, insects, animals, mammals. And you all have must have heard Attenborough speak when he says 96% of mammalian population in this world comprises of humans and pet animals. And maybe 98% of avian population is again generated birds like chicken and others, poultry. So though we are part of this huge system, and though we are something very small in this earth, we are wanting to enjoy 100% of everything that this earth possesses. We take it as if this is for us and us alone and nobody else. Forgetting that, like I said, there are 8.7 million species. Insects, animals, reptiles, birds, mammals, so many of them. But this is this anthroposcopic approach where we feel that we are the center of everything. Everything is for us. The water on this earth is for exploitation of humans. The minerals on this earth are for exploitation of the humans. The air in this world is for exploitation of humans. Everything, when we look at things, we are exploiting each and everything that exists on this earth only for our benefit, our pleasure, our happiness, our desires, and nothing else. We are so egocentric. In terms of what the Supreme Court has used, anthropocentric. We are totally human centric, and that is why we are today now facing these problems. And young children like you are so enthusiastically into this, and the reason is, again, it's human nature. Some people are enjoying it more than the others, and some people are not getting to enjoy it altogether. And it's this disparity in ability to enjoy which is creating activists. We are not satisfied with the fact that the tiger population in India is increasing. We will be satisfied only when we get at least 15-20 chances or opportunities to visit national parks and look at these tigers and crowd them, harass them. Only then we'll be satisfied. Those who are not getting a chance are the ones who are fighting for it. Save the tiger, save the animals, save the air, save the water. In other instances, where because of water contamination, people are dying, falling sick, then we suddenly wake up. Why is this happening? Who is responsible for this? Punish somebody. Because it has hurt us, we have woken up. Today, if we go to Delhi or we go to some polluted city and we are feeling choked, immediately we start shouting, what is the government doing? The government is not doing anything. Look at me, I am a citizen with fundamental rights who's visiting Delhi and I'm choking on smog. How is this possible? My constitutional rights are violated. Whose rights are violated? My constitutional rights are violated. Not the fact, we don't even think of the fact of the violation that we are causing to Mother Earth. The other avian, birds, mammals who are also suffering because of that smog, which has actually been created by us. It's shocking that we never even think about them. When we talk about pollution, in water, we talk about it only when we feel that the water is polluted. We never think that the tiger is made to drink polluted water, or the other animals are being made to drink polluted water because of us. We never think that maybe dogs, birds, and others are also dying because of the pollution that is there in Delhi, in other places. Where Delhi, I'm not pointing out Delhi alone. There are more than 450 cities in this country which are heavily polluted. The pollution, air pollution is much above the permissible limit. So you see, this is the anthropocentric approach that we have to environment. And that is why I started with this, that if you actually think about it, you are nowhere. In this big, huge universe, even it's not possible to see the earth, forget you are a speck on the earth. Even in our own galaxy, in our own solar system, millions of earths, if you put together millions of earths, probably we'll be able to achieve the size of Jupiter, not even the sun. So we are so small, and yet we think that, you've heard that story where the lizard sticks to the wall and all the time thinks that it is the one who's lifting up the wall. Little realizing there is just a small little thing that is sticking to this huge building. So it is very important for all you environmental lovers to do away with this anthropocentric approach and approach the idea of environmental protection through an ecocentric approach. Ecocentric means that we should look at the environment being more important than those who are living in it. And when we think that way, it is very important for us to also realize the loss and damage that we are causing to. See, the statistics indicate that more than 1,000 plus species of insects and animals are vanishing from this earth because of the way that we are abusing it every year. And we are responsible for it. You see, we cannot shirk our responsibility. We are responsible. The kind of damage that we are causing to our oceans, kind of damage that we are causing to our air, the kind of damage that we are causing to water, the kind of exploitation that we are indulging into regarding natural resources, it is that which is causing all these kinds of damage to Mother Earth. See, it's a different topic, but at least you are born in a country where the first phrase is Mata Prithvi Putro Aham Prathivya, which means that my mother is the earth and I, as a human, am a son of Mother Earth. This is the way we look at this country, the history, thousands and thousands of years old history, maybe 1 lakh year old tradition and history of this piece of land that we call India, is that we consider ourselves as the product of Mother Earth. And yet we are so anthropocentric that we forget that we are exploiting the very thing that has produced us. Now, why do I say this? We always feel that human beings are unique. You know what happens to us when we die? You dust to dust, ashes to ashes. You burn us, burn the body. Next day you go, where's the body? You just find ash. Then you cremate it. After 10 years, you dig it up. You find nothing. Where does it go? It gets assimilated into the same mud that we feel is inanimate, is dead, is non-living. So unless and until we don't realize and know that we are made out of the same material from which the earth, the water, the air, the universe, every particle in the universe is made of. We are the same thing. We are not unique. We are not something that has been imported from somewhere outside or beyond the universe. We are part of the same material. It's the same elements in the periodic table that differently combined make humans. We are nothing different. And so this anthropocentric approach has to change. When you look at environment, we must look at it from an ecocentric point of view. Lot of people justify this by saying, see, we are hungry, we need to eat fish. So therefore we are fishing in the ocean. Very nice. But then what do you do after fishing in the ocean when you find that it's very profitable to fish and sell, catch fish and sell it? You say, let me make this my business. So you're not satisfied with 1 ton of fish. You want 10 ton, then 100 ton, then 1,000 tons. So you're dredging now. Now you are scraping this ocean's floor, destroying the entire ecology of the ocean, catching fish, eating it, exploiting it to the extent that today, if we go by the statistics that have been given by international bodies, by 1st August, we have already consumed what we normally consume in 1 year. So whatever we are, see, you're looking so intelligent. All of you, suppose you have 1 lakh rupees and you deposit it in a bank and you get 10,000 rupees interest. Any intelligent person would say, I'll keep my 1 lakh rupee intact and I will survive on my interest, 10,000 rupees a month. I'm going to spend that. I'm going to be happy with 10,000 rupees. So my 1 lakh is safe and I'm enjoying my life also. But what are we doing today? This huge bank account that we have in biodiversity in this earth, we have put it, we are exploiting it to the extent that instead of surviving in 10,000 rupees, we now survive in 25,000 rupees. If we start surviving in 25,000 rupees instead of 10,000 rupees, every year we are eating 15,000 rupees out of our core money of 1 lakh rupees. So in 5-7 years, your bank account is going to become zero. And then no interest, nothing. What are you going to do? So you see, this basically in a very simple way is the concept of sustainable development that we are talking about today. You have something that nature has given to you. We live on it, we are part of it. But when we live with it, we are part of it, we have to live in it in such a way that it continues to remain. That 1 lakh rupees should not become less, it may increase. But we should not eat away more than the 10,000, that is what it generates. The moment we start eating more than what the earth is able to sustain, we are corroding into the resources of this earth. And once we start and continue to do that, after a few years, this earth will become a dead planet. There will be nothing in this. we will not be able to survive. There was a species that thought that it was the king of the earth at one point of time. The dinosaurs wiped out. They were ruling the earth, wiped out. One stroke gone. You only find the skeleton somewhere here or there. We are all something like that is going to happen to us also. Some other species in some way beyond time is going to search for our fossils and skeletons and say, yes, some kind of a species known as man, Homo sapiens, they used to live on this earth some point of time. The way we are going about it, we are actually ushering in that. And here comes the concept or doctrine of intergenerational equity. What does this mean? It means that whatever natural resources that we are enjoying today remain intact to be enjoyed by our future generations. We don't destroy or eat into it in such a way that it is not available to our children and our future generations to enjoy, to exploit, to live by. So it is very important for us to understand these 2-3 concepts. Firstly, that our outlook towards environment, natural resources, the earth should change. We should change from the anthropocentric to the ecocentric. We must know that we survive and we are part of the environment. We should not think that the environment and the resources of the earth are only meant for us to exploit. Secondly, we should use our resources in such a way that they continue to remain in existence for the future generation also to see, to enjoy, and to benefit from. For example, I'll tell you, I was giving you the example of fishes. Olden times, they used to say months starting with the word J. No fishing during those months. All months starting with the letter J. No fishing in those months. Why? Those are the months when the fish breed. They produce babies, children. Now, when you are restrained and you are intelligent enough not to do that, the fish that you have actually caught and eaten in the remaining months gets replenished by regeneration. What we are doing today is all the year round fishing, all the year round catching and exploiting, selling. Result is that the fish bank is being reduced. It's going down. That 1 lakh rupees is slowly reducing. And at the rate that we go, probably there will come a time when you won't be able to do it. Same thing is happening with you. I'll give you an instance. I was studying in the agriculture university and they told me that the first instances of farmer suicides took place in Karnataka. Why? Traditional farming of cotton was going on. The farmers were happy with it. Then some young children having studied from some hi-fi universities, reached these villages and said, "Arey, what are you doing? You are only getting 1 bag of so-and-so. Use this fertilizer, use that chemical, use this and you'll get 10 bags. Okay. They started using it. From 1 bag, they started getting 10 bags. After a span of 6 years, they had chemicalized and eroded the generative capacity of soil to the extent that after 6 years, the crop was zero. In spite of their adding all kinds of fertilizers, they could not produce cotton. And they had taken lakhs and lakhs of rupees of loan. The crop failed for 3 consecutive years because the soil did not have the strength to produce cotton. The farmers committed suicide. Same thing that I told you. You have your 1 lakh rupees, live on your interest, keep your basic amount, basic wealth intact, you'll be happy. The day you start eating into it, this is what happens. So, you know what has happened? I was Chief Justice Punjab. You should know this, children. There, the Shivaliks are mostly shale. And when it rains on the mountains, Himalayas, Shivaliks, all the silt flows down the mountain into the 5 rivers and the 6 Sindhu, Chenab, Ravi, Jhelum. And all that sand is immediately picked up from all riverbeds and is used for construction. It goes to Rajasthan, it goes to Gujarat, it goes to Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, 5 places at least, minimum. Himachal, I'm forgetting Himachal. And the result is that today Punjab is exploiting more than 200% of the water that actually regenerates in the soil on its own. It's a dried state. It's a dried state. There is no water there. Punjab, which was the wheat bowl of India, today is on the 4th or 5th place. States like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh has overtaken Punjab. Nowhere there. Over-exploitation. This is, and there are places, there is a place, I'm forgetting the district, where even the surface water is radioactive. Not just contaminated, it is radioactive. 3 people in each family suffers from cancer. There's a special cancer train that runs from that place to Gujarat, where there's a cancer hospital. This never existed previously. This is what we have done. This is how we have exploited the earth because of our anthroposcopic attitude, that we are now today suffering these kind of things. There's so much of pollution, Look at these photographs. Look at them, the dumps. And these are not unique photographs. You travel around Jabalpur, you will see this. Young children like you eat chips, wafers, popcorns, toffees, chocolates. I've yet to come across a young child who, after having enjoyed those things, keeps the wrapper in his or her pocket or puts it in a dustbin. Nobody thinks about it because we think we are supposed to enjoy this. We're supposed to enjoy it like this. And though so we are now, from this sustainable development and all this, you see, we came to the concept in 1962, the government of India set up a committee because there was a lot of hue and cry all over that several major rivers were polluted because of municipal waste being dumped into the rivers, because of factory effluents being left into the river, chemical pollution, muck, plastic, everything. 62, the committee recommended come up with a law to prevent pollution in rivers. This committee got approved in 65. It took 10 years for this progressive country to come up with the first law relating to water, prevention of water pollution. You all, since you are all a group studying this, you must have noted that law. Water Prevention of Pollution Act, 1974. So that was the first start. Though I must tell you that the British, way back in 1800s, realized that there was illicit tree felling, There was over exploitation of trees and forests. So they came up with the first forest law preventing illegal felling and illegal grazing in forests, which ultimately resulted in the 1927 Indian Forest Act, which is still in existence. So first forests, then we realized water, then we realized that there were industries that were polluting the air. When industrialization, suddenly there was a boom in industrialization. So we said, no. There's another sector that we need to address. Air. So then we came up with a law in 81 because we had signed the Stockholm Treaty in 72. We said we are bound to it, so come up with the air pollution. So we first looked at forests, then we looked at water, then we looked at air. And then we realized that there is much more to this earth and this ecosystem than just trees, water, and air. So then ultimately we came up with the Environmental Protection Act, which covers everything, the entire environment. So the Environmental Protection Act, the Water, the Air Act, these are acts created which set standards of permissible pollution, set standards for pollution that being beyond the standard have to be curtailed, dealt with either through penal provisions like punishments, imprisonment, fine, etc. Bodies, I think, you are all representing or you were required to submit a note regarding the Central Pollution Control Board and the State Pollution Control Board. Now, these bodies were constituted for the purposes of deciding what should be the policies for controlling pollution. Now, the Environment Act has gelled into this, so it's not just water and air, but each and every kind of pollution, environmental, which has some adverse impact on the environment, which is covered. The Environmental Protection Act has given teeth and power to the CPCBs and the state pollution control boards to deal with all issues relating to pollution, whether it is industrial pollution, whether it's effluents, whether it's air, water, any kind of other pollution, plastic, this, that. Then we realized that there was no mechanism. I remember when I was an advocate, several writ petitions, public interest litigations were filed in the Supreme Court regarding pollution. And the Supreme Court was required to deal with all of them. And ultimately, when it got tired, it said, I will transfer all these environment petitions to respective states concerning them. So green benches were created and constituted by the Supreme Court in every state. And these matters, and I remember there was a matter of Ratlam, and this I'm talking to you about maybe 94, 95. And unfortunately, the groundwater that was available in the city of Ratlam turned red. Even deep hand pumps was, you drew the water, it was red. It had been polluted by chemical industries, tanneries. There was a railway industry there. And those 5 huge industries were actually locked by the court. Locked them. The court said lock them. Till the time they don't stop polluting, number one. And number two, till the time they don't pay the people living there for making available drinking water, till the time they don't take measures to clean up the groundwater. And that red water slowly, it took decade for that water to become light pink and then get cleaned up. And you'll find this happening all over the country now. I'm just telling you this case which I had dealt with in '94. The Vellore tannery case and other cases are already there where the rivers of the waters become red because of tannery, waste being poured into the rivers. And in spite of 2 Supreme Court orders, nothing has happened there. Recently, the Supreme Court has now issued some very strict directions, cleaned it up, pay it. You see, there comes the concept of polluter pays. The concept is what? You exploit environment, you destroy it, or you pollute it to the extent that it becomes unusable, unconsumable by the general public, or it causes such a tremendous loss to the general public that it leads to, suppose you deforest an area which was producing, say, sal seeds, which is the livelihood of tribals, and you deforest it, the livelihood is gone. Apart from the fact that it has caused environmental damage. Vellore, they polluted the water to the extent that it's not potable. You can't drink it. Now, where are the tribals and other people who live there going to go? They have to purchase water. Water has to be transported from some other place. Though the river is, the old saying, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. So then the Supreme Court came up with this concept that the person who is doing this, committing this act of polluting natural resources should be strictly made liable to pay for all the damage that it has done. So the concept of absolute liability, which came into existence through Supreme Court judgment in the case of MC Mehta, and those principles were implemented, and this new concept of polluter paying for the loss that it was causing to the environment came up. Subsequently, it was found that, you see, it's not just the loss that the polluter is required to pay. The polluter should also pay cost for regenerating whatever has been destroyed, for recreating the entire ecosystem that has been disrupted. You should also pay for that. So this concept of sustainable development reached that stage where they were required also to pay for it, to pay for restoration, not just pay for the damage, but also pay for restoration. And then slowly see how we are evolving from one stage when we had no idea about anything, then we realized that forests were important, then we realized water was important, then we realized air was important, then we realized environment is important. Now we've also realized that biodiversity itself is important. Biodiversity includes everything. So we have a biodiversity law, Biological Diversity Act. What does it say? It says there is a particular way in which you can conserve, preserve, consume, and enjoy biodiversity. Overexploitation not permitted. Exploitation of the local or tribal public who are surviving on it not permitted. So now we have the Biodiversity Act also. And after that, we now have again a concept that has been evolved by the Supreme Court of compensatory afforestation. You go in for some kind of an activity like mining, industrialization, for which you have to cut trees. You have to pay a certain amount as compensation for cutting the trees. And the manner in which the value of the trees has to be computed has also been formulated by the Supreme Court in its judgment, again in The judgment, all of you must be knowing it since you must have done some research. The great case of T and Godavarman, which is going on since maybe the last 20, 30 years. And it is probably the one case that saved the forests in India, because one of the orders that was first passed in Godavarman was to stop all tree felling in the entire country. Entire country. And the great judge who passed the order was from Madhya Pradesh, Justice J.S. Verma, who was then Chief Justice of India. He said no tree felling in the entire country. He banned tree felling in the entire country. That led to such a big uproar because the states were exploiting timber. Timber dealers and traders were exploiting it. They all rushed to the Supreme Court. No. What have you done? Please open it. Please permit it to go. Supreme Court said nothing doing. First, compensate. First, regenerate. First, look at the stock. First, look at your bank balance. Are you eroding into your bank balance? Or are you living on interest? First, look at all these things. Slowly, in a very phased manner, the stay was vacated. So that was one of the first cases which actually brought about awareness in this country and also made the state governments aware and people who are in the business of timber trade and environment that the courts are very serious in this. And when all this happened, and we had also made a commitment in Stockholm in 72, we ultimately came up with the National Green Tribunal Act, because we found that though we had the Forest Act, though we had the Water, Air Act, Environment Act, and so many acts, it still lacked some judicial backing. I'll tell you in a very brief thing why this is there. You see, today you are all what Central Pollution Board and State Pollution Boards. You are a member of the State Pollution Board or an officer or an authority in the board, and somebody comes to you and says, the so-and-so person in my neighborhood is running a cottage industry and he's pouring all the dirty effluent in the nala. Do something about it. And you being a member of the state air pollution board, you will say, I am air pollution, I am not water pollution. Don't come to me. I can't do anything. Go to the water pollution people. When you go to the water pollution, they will say, you are living where? You are living in Jabalpur. Yes, we are living in Jabalpur. Oh, Jabalpur. You go to municipal corporation. Why are you coming to me? Municipal corporation will look into it. When you rush to the municipal corporation, they will say, Sir, this is environmental pollution. This is water pollution. Go to the water pollution board. The person, poor chap, what's Saroj or what's Manat, Arisha will run to the water board. But the water will say, no, this is environment protection. Go to the environment bodies. So you're going all around the place. Everybody is passing the buck. And really nothing is happening on the ground. The problem persists. So then, firstly, you see, way back in 95, National Environment Tribunal was sought to be created. An act was formed in 95, never implemented. In 97, a National Appellate Tribunal Act was enacted. Again, never implemented. Ultimately, when the court started constituting these green benches all over the country, and matters started being taken up in public interest litigations and strict directions and orders were issued, the government realized that if they don't come up with some kind of a judicial forum for dealing with these matters, the high courts and Supreme Courts are going to make their life miserable. Then they came up with the National Green Tribunal Act. All environmental matters to go to the GM. Fortunately, it's an all-encompassing tribunal. Any grievance relating to environment can go there. Any grievance. Anybody has any grievance today, pollutants are being poured into the Narmada, you can immediately go to the National Green Tribunal. If somebody is running a dairy right in the middle of the city, because of which pollution is being caused and the risk of diseases spreading and other things happen, you can rush to the Green Tribunal. But at the same time, all can't rush to this Green Tribunal which is in Delhi or the green benches which are in Bhopal and in capitals of the state. So though all these acts have been made, though all these principles have been formulated by us, the problem still continues to persist. So now the government is going in for economic development. If you want to set up an industry somewhere, you have to first get environmental clearance, forest clearance, pollution clearance. Now there are so many clearances that they have to obtain that these people start industries, apply and start industries, but when they get caught, they are imposed with penalties, they are punished with imprisonment. So all these people ran to the government, what you are saying, go in for business, go in for industrialization, and we are being punished and being sent to jail. So government has now in 2023 come up with a Jan Vishwas Adhiniyam. Do away with all provisions relating to punishment, criminal punishment, pay compensation, pay penalty. Now the system is that if you are polluting, you are caught, compensatory afforestation, compensatory cost being paid, penalty being paid, and continue with it. So these measures have also now become less effective. I won't say ineffective, but less effective. They apply to some who are caught, some people go off scot-free. So under the Jan Vishwas Adhiniyam, now these problems have come up. So you see, these when we look at all this, we are compelled to think: are we heading in the right direction? Are the laws that have been made by India sufficient and enough to cater to all these problems? Are the laws effective enough to curtail people from committing these crimes? You see, one of the basic objects and purposes of penal laws is to act as a deterrent. If you know you are going to be punished with life imprisonment for committing a crime, you will think twice before doing it. But if you know that if I commit this crime and I can go off scot-free by paying some amount for it, you will say, okay, I have this amount, let me commit this crime, I'll pay and I'll continue to commit it. So the basic concept behind penal laws of deterrent is failing. These laws are no longer deterrents. They don't count. You are all people who are studying in school, young environment lovers. You know something about the pollution control boards, central board, state board, other bodies. Most of the people don't know anything about them. Probably if I were to ask you, where is the state pollution control board situated? Nobody would know about it. If I were to ask you, today you have a complaint which you want to file before the State Pollution Control Board, where should you go? How should you go about it? You won't know anything about it. If you want to take up a case in the Green Tribunal, you say, I don't know how to do about it. So please, let's forget about it. So you see, unless and until you people, and this very exercise of this Sansad or whatever it is, we have come up with a wonderful thing of educating all of you, to make all of you aware, to make all of you understand that you are people who are enjoying the privileges of nature without quite realizing what God has bestowed upon you, exploiting it for free, letting others exploit it and damage it, and yet standing by as bystanders, letting them do everything. I don't think that your generation should lie back like that and let these things happen. You should be aware of all this. Now, awareness in about legal provisions, you have so many people who are fighting, against pollution, air pollution, illicit felling of trees, water pollution, Ganga pollution, Yamuna pollution, so-and-so pollution, so many pollution. Some of you young people have even fought for saving Dumna in Jabalpur. The Dumna was such a big issue. We went national. Everybody knew. The young children of Jabalpur actually fought that matter out and saved Dumna. So you see, now it's high time that you don't just, you need 10 people to do it. Why should you? There are hundreds and hundreds of instances where people now, having become aware, have started contributing consciously to the environment. This is the thing that we have to actually inculcate in ourselves. These concepts I just told you, you have now, I'm quite sure you have understood what anthropocentric approach is. I hope you've also understood how we have to change over to the ecocentric approach to look at environment. You have also understood how we should develop as a society adopting the principles of sustainable development, where the environment develops side by side with us. We develop and it develops. It should not be a case where we develop and it degenerates. It should develop with us. We should exploit natural resources in such a way that we don't damage them permanently and they are available to our next generation. So you have also understood the concept of intergenerational equity. You have understood that also. You have now also understood why and how the polluter pay concept came in. That when we realized that big industries created a very bad situation where the tribals and villagers suffered who had no resources to restore the damage, then the big industries were asked to pay. You also understood the concept of compensatory afforestation. You have understood the concept of, I think I've left out, precautionary principle. Precautionary principle is what? Another principle evolved by the Supreme Court. That principle is that if somebody, some industry or some person, anybody is indulging in an activity which has the potential of damaging the environment, then you should not wait for the time when the damage occurs before taking action. The precautionary principle requires you to immediately take action and stop that activity which has the potential of damaging the environment, hurting the environment, or creating a situation where you lose something precious of another few species maybe. So this concept is also now, I think, You have understood this, or shall I repeat it? Or, huh? So now when we know all these things, we must also understand how to go about using these laws so that they benefit us. Young friends were asking me, should we bring about a new law, a more stringent law for environment and pollution, or should we make some amendments in the existing law to give them more teeth? Are the laws that as they exist today insufficient to deal with the matter? Now, once all of you will sit down and actually study these laws, the list, I think, in the PPT, the entire list of the laws is there with you. Yeah. Here's the list. See, Indian Forest Act, Grazing Act, then Wildlife Protection Act, Water Prevention Control Act, Forest Conservation Act, Air Prevention Control Act. Then you have the Environment Protection Act, Public Liability Insurance Act, then environment notifications for environment impact assessment, Biological Diversity Act, Scheduled Tribe Rights to Recognition of Forest Rights, National Green Tribunal, Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act. Then you have the Jan Vishwas Adhiniyam. All these acts are there, and once you read all these acts, you'll find that there is a very nice object and purpose behind framing all these acts. The intent behind framing all these acts is very noble. The intent is also evident from reading the provisions of the act, the statutory provisions. They are very stringent, they are very effective, provided they are implemented properly. The problem that we are facing today with all these laws is the lack of implementation. Number one. And number two is the problem that I told you. Fragmented. You go for water pollution, run to somebody says go to the other person. The other person says go to the third. So you are going around in circles. There's nobody who's wanting to take the responsibility. So while these acts there is need to come up with some kind of a system which gives one central authority or body the teeth to deal with matters relating to all kind of environmental issues at the local stage, at the local level. If you would frankly ask me whether you need a new law or an additional or extra law, I'm not very sure about it. Perhaps consolidating the existing laws would be a much better idea. Municipal authorities, however, have some powers. They can take action in many ways. But then again, there is a lack of will in all these things. There is so many factors at work. And I think I will deal with that aspect, which to my mind is very important for you young friends. These are all issues that I'm telling you. These are all concepts, laws which you have to study, which you have already. I think all of you must already have studied and all that. And I have asked this question to several people. The Indian Penal Code, which prescribes murder as a punishment, is existing for more than 150 years. Has that stopped anybody from committing murders?
No, sir.
So you see, providing something as a crime and providing punishment for a crime does not prevent the people who actually want to do it, commit it. So laws are deterrents, but at one stage, laws are laws, courts are courts, judicial systems are judicial systems. They can reach up to a point, and after that, It's for the people to act. It's for you all to become aware. Today, when we are talking about anthropocentric, we are also self-centric. Why? Today, if you want a glass of water and you are thirsty, the first thing that you will do is, what is the school management doing? Is not even able to give me a glass of water. Now you've gone down to the extent, your mental faculties have degenerated to the extent that when you want a glass of water, you expect the school to give it to you. You don't have the courage to stand up. You don't have the strength to go to the place where there's a water filter, pick up a glass and drink it. Or if the water filter is empty, when you reach there, you'll immediately start blaming the establishment, rather than trying to see that it's somehow filled up again, so that it's available not just for you and others. Today, if you don't have a job, every day, today the YouTube is flooded with people. नौकरी दो, नौकरी दो, नौकरी दो, नौकरी दो. किसको देते हैं नौकरी? You want some job done at home. You'll just call anybody and ask him to do it. You're sick, you'll call a doctor. And when you call a doctor, which doctor will you call? Anybody. Who will you call? You will call the best doctor. So that doctor is very good. You will call that chap. Why is he good? He is good because he has worked hard. He's worked hard for it. You want a good lawyer? Go there, Anshuman Singh. Worked very hard. He should go to Anshuman Singh, a good lawyer. Because he worked hard. So you see, unless and until you don't work hard for something, today you can't get it. And that thing applies to this environmental problem to the nth. You cannot sit. I'll tell you, I was talking to my friends and I just remembered that when it comes to the earth, when it comes to people and people interrelationship, there's a great philosopher, Nietzsche, German philosopher. And he once said that this earth has a skin and this skin has a disease, and the disease is man. There's an American philosopher, William James. And he said that man is simply the most formidable of all beasts, which systematically preys on its own species. Today, if you are suffering something, if you'll actually go into it, you'll find that some other person is actually responsible for your suffering. Today, if the water is polluted, somebody is responsible. Who's polluting it? I was a judge, several cases would come to me. Sir, the corporation has not cleaned up the drain in front of my house. It's flooded with filth. And I would ask them, this drain is in front of your house? Yes, sir. So the corporation dumped the Chhatra there? No, sir. Who dumped it? You dumped it. You took out the filth from your house, dumped it in the nala in front of your house, and you want the corporation to clean it. Are you responsible or are you not? This is the one thing, there's the last aspect of thing. I've already told you all the gamut. You can study it if you want any kind of, my thing is available. You can ask me any kind, I'll give you this thing. All the judgments are there. Godavarman, Vellore, Birchi, this, that, all judgments are all available. When you open the net, and you can, if you are really interested in it, all of you, when you open it, you will get everything. It's all available there. And for me to, teach you and tell you each and everything about the legal aspect. Firstly, it's not possible within an hour, and secondly, it'll be a very little difficult for you to absorb it at this stage, unless and until you don't do some groundwork with the Air Act, the Water Act, unless and until you don't go through Section 16 of the Water Act or the Air Act, which provides and lays down the duties and responsibilities of the central board and the state board and all that. But the more important aspect I feel is, which though is not strictly a part of what I'm supposed to tell you, but I want to inculcate that fire in you, if you are so environmentally aware and your environment friends, that you cannot sit back. I was in Punjab. There's a Punjabi saint there. I'm forgetting his name. He's now called the River Man or something. There's a sacred river in Punjab, and that river, like Vellore and other, it was full of filth. It had become a drain. And in spite of the people going to the government and asking the government to do something, and in spite of the government sanctioning so much of money, nothing happened to it. And then this saint took up the matter and he asked his followers, come on, let's go and clean up the river. So initially he went there for 5-6 people. And when people saw 5-6 people, they said, we'll also join in. And then ultimately 5,000 people, a whole group of people went there. They cleaned up the entire river. And today that river has become a live river. It's flowing. The water table has gone up. Agriculture production is increased. And so many things have happened. That person has been given Padma Shri by the government for having done that. He did not ask the government for any help. He did not ask anybody to help him. He decided on his own that I will do this. I am a responsible citizen. I am a lover of the environment. And so I should go and do this. It's the Kalibain. Kalibain is a river in Punjab. And the Sant is, I'm forgetting the Sant, I'll tell you the name. Somebody, it must be somewhere here. Kalibain case is a very important case. You should remember it. Sant Balbir Singh Sechwal. Sant Balbir Singh Sechwal. He was ultimately given this thing. Then you have the great Chipko movement. You see for setting up an industry, the company went, they were going to cut the trees. And the village women, not even men, they went and hugged the trees and stood there. They said, we won't let you cut it. And that Chipko movement became such a big thing that ultimately that project had to be quashed, stalled. Silent Valley, they were coming up with a hydro project there. Mining leases were being given in Silent Valley. The few public young children like you, they went there, they said, we won't let it happen. All the villagers got together, 15,000 villagers got together. The entire project had to be quashed, scrapped. He's known as the jungle or tree man of India. He's a man in Assam, single individual. He took up a small place and started growing trees there. Today that area is a thick forest in which elephants live, others live. He's been recognized internationally for having done this. Don't wait for somebody to give you some push, the government to come forward. All instances, you see the net is available to all of you young people. Open it up. Each and every one individual who has done something for the environment has done it on his own without any government help. In fact, It is because of these activities that the government was compelled to come forward and help these people. There's so many instances. There's a instance of, I'll give you two. These are very two things that you must know. There's an instance of Rajasthan in the desert, and there's the instance of Leh. Now, their young people took up afforestation, planted trees, did a lot of work. As a result of this, afforestation took place and it started raining there. Rains in Leh resulted in havoc. Houses were they were drained away with the river. They were flooding. Everything was destroyed. In the Rajasthan case, again the same thing happened. So the concept is restoration, not regeneration, not creating something new, because you have to be careful, it alters the environment. When you take up such measures of environmental protection in areas where it should not be done. Today, Madhya Pradesh, take for instance Madhya Pradesh. Now Madhya Pradesh has one of the best forest areas. After Arunachal and South or Northeast, probably it's one of the states which has the biggest forest area. But the forests are thinning down. The rivers are shrinking. Activity that should be taken up here is regeneration of degenerated forest, regeneration of rivers, not creation of new forests, not creation of new rivers. So when we undertake these measures, most of the times in our enthusiasm, we end up doing things that we should not do. So change your attitude from anthropocentric, become ecocentric. Live in a manner that is in consonance with the principle of sustainable development. As responsible citizens, apart from all this knowledge that you are acquiring, what can you do? I don't know, most of you must have read, if you are enthusiasts. Mink and beaver fur was a very great thing. It was the luxury of the riches in America. As a result of that, beavers practically became extinct and mink also became extinct. What did they do? Apart from the fact that the government was making all its efforts and all that, which failed as usual, people got up. They said, we'll boycott the purchase of beaver coats and minks. When the market got choked, people start buying the products. Automatically, beaver hunting stopped. Automatically, mink slaughtering stopped. Or it was reduced and came down to a sustainable level. So, consumer, you see, tiger, what happens? Do you know what happens when a tiger is poached in India? Where does it go? Why do they poach tigers? You know, a tiger produces as many as 200 things, 200 products, from bones to flesh to eye to genitals and other things, which are all sold as aphrodisiacs in markets in China. It is all, they are killed here, they are smuggled through Indian borders, Nepal, go to China. There they are purchased by big traders from Europe, America, England, all the products there. Since the market is there, therefore poaching is there. If the market goes away, what did they do with this thing? Ivory. People decided we'll boycott ivory. If you boycott ivory, automatically the killing of tuskers stops. So you see, today as citizens who are aware, you must be proactive in this way. Consciously don't encourage those who are indulging in. Who are the people who indulge in all this? Identify them, boycott their products. Do something proactive so that, after all, since the market is there, therefore the industry is there. If the market won't be there, industry won't be there. And this happens with everything. This happens with everything. Today we are searching for alternatives for sand, because sand rivers are being damaged, destroyed because of sand extraction. Look for that. As aware citizens who are environment friendly, you must come up with it. These are instances I'm just giving you. There are a few. There is a case of the Alva River in America. You know what they did? The 2 dams were constructed there in the beginning of the century. And because of that, construction of those dams, there was degeneration of forests, degeneration of fishes and other things. The citizen fought for it for 80 years. Ultimately, the government had to bring in a legislation that those 2 dams have today been destroyed. $350 million have been invested and dams have been removed. And after removal of those dams since 2023, maybe 2021, 22, slowly the entire environment is being restored. Slowly the fishes are back, the trees are back, the mucus is back, so soil has become rich, farming is improved, everything is improving. We have to think progressively this way. Removal of dams are there, there are plantation of trees are there, taking up steps, proactive steps for making sure that government has gone hoarse. Ban plastic, don't use plastic. One of the issues is tourism. 2 lakh cars travel up to Manali every day. Is it going to survive? Can't survive. So we have to be responsible citizens. You to be people. You have to turn out into people who ultimately protect, live for the environment. Treat it as, like I said, something, a part of you, part of your family, part of your living, part of your ecosystem, part of something that sustains you, not something that is to be exploited. So in this, ultimately, I'll again sum it up for all of you. I don't know whether you want to go in so much for this legal thing from my side, or you'll manage it on your own, or you want some other instances that I can give you of so many things. Yeah, you know, when I was in the agriculture university, I came up with another very interesting case. See how things change, how small changes in environment actually have impacts which you can never anticipate. You know what happened? As you know, paddy farming, they fill up the field with water and then they grow rice. And in the water that is filled up, frogs proliferate. And somebody in the south had an idea, look at these frogs, you see, frog leg is a delicacy in Europe. Let's catch all these frogs and send them to export them, you'll earn a lot of money. And they did that. When they caught all the frogs and went in for this thing, next year the crop failed. They didn't know what had happened. Ultimately, they brought in scientists. What had happened? What has happened? What has happened? They found out that actually the frogs that were there in the field would catch the insects that came to feed on the plant, and that symbiotic relationship between the frog and the paddy crop was there, which actually sustained it. So they had to reintroduce frogs. So you see, the moment you touch or play with nature in any way, these concepts that have all been precautionary principles, Huh? Intergenerational equity, sustainable development, compensatory steps, compensatory afforestation, penalties, laws if we want today, if you can suggest and through your study it, laws should be made to act swiftly and to impose a penalty that acts as a deterrent, that hurts. It should hurt the polluter immediately. Only then we will be able to come up with a system, legal system, that is able to prevent these problems and in fact help all of us in protecting the environment, all those who are interested. So any of you have any question, or you want to ask anything, or if you have something in your mind, or you want to give some good suggestion, I'm open to it. No? Somebody must be there. Some faculty member. Hey. जो बोला वो समझ में आया ना आप लोग को? हिंदी में बोलना था क्या? हिंदी में बोलना था कि अंग्रेजी में बोलना?
Yes, sir. It was understandable.
हाँ?
Sir,
चलो
आप
repeat it in हिंदी.
बोला.
So change your attitude. Become. I don't want any of you to become activists. Become environment friendly. Don't become environmental activists. Become environmental friendly. Live a life that is environmental friendly. If all of you just do that one thing, you would have contributed a great deal to the system. Yes, Jashna, you want to ask something? No?
They are a bit hesitant, sir. Hesitant.
I'm trying to encourage them to ask me something.
Yes, sir. But I think they've gained a lot, sir. But now, surely.
थक गए बेचारे.
नहीं थक गए. But they are showing very good energy in preparing for the conference. And
oh yes, no, the fact that they are listening, because I was trying to make it as light as possible for them.
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा
journey is the reward in this case. The preparation itself is the reward.
मैंने ऐसा है कि even a little bit of
wants to ask a question, sir.
Oh yes, Jasmine. Yes. हाँ बेटा, बोलो Jasmine. Where are you?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Jasmine.
So first of all, thank you so much for such an enriching session. It was really insightful, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
my question was that if we focus more on punishments in the law, be it anything, be it for crime, torts, even environmental law, why is it that India doesn't have much focus on retributive justice or reformative justice, and why is it focused on punishments more? Because as the last slide said, it's not about if we have the law, it's about if we have the will. So as it is, we already have a lot of punishments, but if we are focusing on reformative justice, then it will be actually there that the will of the people is being established.
Jasmine, what do you really mean by reformative justice? You want the person to reform.
Right.
Reform into not committing or continuing to commit some kind of an environmental offense. Now, when you do that, one, as you say, is deterrent punishment.
Yes.
What are the other things that you change the mindset? How does the mindset change? See, I had two concepts I told you. One is compensatory afforestation, and the second is polluter pays. Now, these are not just penal provisions. They are also reformative. Why? Suppose an industry is doing something which is resulting in pollution. The law says stop doing it, pay for the destruction that you have caused, and also compensate the damage to individuals and the environment that has been caused. Now, these were the measures that were initially proposed as reformative measures. It is punishment is one thing. You committed a crime, you are put in jail. But you have committed a crime, we say, okay, we'll give you a time, we'll give you a chance to put the clock back. We'll give you a chance to do something, to apologize for your mistake and improve upon it. So these concepts are reformative as well. The hope is that by doing all this, the person who has actually committed that crime or that pollution will not do it in future, would realize the importance of. I'll give you an instance. Okay, just since you asked me, I just remembered. I was dealing with a matter of mining by I think it was SECL in near Amarkanta. And you know what they did was, when they were given a mining lease, it was a huge patch, and they dug a huge mining pit to extract mineral, open cast mining. When they dug that pit, they exposed all the aquifers. Do you know what are aquifers? You don't. I'll tell you. You see rivers on land, on the surface of land. You have water channels that flow inside the earth. They are called aquifers. When you dig a well, it is these aquifers that fill up the well. That's how water fills up there. So you take out 10 buckets of water, it is again filled up. You take out 20 buckets of water, it is again filled up. So these are aquifers. So what happened was that when they did this mining, these aquifers got exposed, and all the water in the surrounding area, it poured into that pit. It was a huge pit. And as a result of that, all the wells in the surrounding villages dried up. All the subsoil water drained into that pit. Agriculture became very difficult. Villagers started crying. Fortunately, it was a government company. So what to do? Then they realized their mistake. When they realized their mistake, they not just provided them with water and other things, they also filled up that pit, tried to restore it. They became aware. They became reformed. So you see, when they took up this step of paying for what the mistake that they had made and compensating those on humanitarian grounds who had suffered, the villagers, they reformed from that time onwards. Whenever they went in for mining, they would be very careful about these things. So this is why you see, I actually gave a lot of time to this last part of my thing, which was probably, Anshuman would say, not part of your topic or anything. But I wanted you all to become aware. You see, no, there can be no environment protection. No law can ever become effective. There can be no measure that you can take which can prevent pollution unless and until the citizen, the people, the children, you people become environmental sensitive. Like I said, live with the environment. Live with the environment. Live in the environment. Don't think that it is something that is to be used or exploited. Unless and until you don't have that feeling for it, until you don't develop that love for nature, unless and until you don't realize that you are a part of it, unless and until you don't realize that you are a creation of nature itself, and you are made of the same substance of which nature is made, you cannot go in for reformation. Reformation can take place only when this thought process changes. No law can change the thought process of any. I gave you an example. Murder is a crime punishable with death and life imprisonment for the last 150 years. Yet everybody is committing a crime. Reformative, criminal law is also being practiced since last more than 100 years. Reformatory. In fact, the British established reformatories. There was a big reformatory in Jabalpur itself for criminals to reform them. But the reformation can take place only when there is a change in the thinking, change in thought. And like they say, knowledge comes, but wisdom lingers. Just reading is not going to bring anything to you. It is only when you realize that this knowledge comes to you that you really will start relating to, and people will start relating. If you see today, if you can inculcate this kind of feeling in your own family, your parents, your brother, your sisters, your friends, you would be doing a great service to the environment. You don't need to form a group or an NGO. And the reason why I gave you instances of individuals who actually became and have become superhumans. They are supermen. Somebody is called the jungle man. Somebody is called the tree man. Somebody is called the so-and-so man. That saint in Punjab has revived the entire river. The man in Assam has created a big forest of thousands of acres. So it is, this reformation has no law. If you are asking me the question as to whether some law can be framed to reform somebody,